Although it appeared that the cast of Boys Over Flowers had it all, the truth was startling. Due to legal disputes over allegations of abuse, one celebrity lost $13 million. Another was sleeping in parking lots while enrolled at one of the most difficult institutions in Korea. When a cast member was expecting, her husband was blackmailed for millions of dollars. A family tragedy also caused one performer to fully disappear for 5 years. Today, we're revealing the true stories of each cast member's post-camera situations. Lee Minho. Lee Minho was only beginning his career in 2006. He wasn't yet a star. He was just a budding actor traveling with his pals, anticipating what would happen next. However, a single automobile ride altered everything. As the car was traveling to Gangwon province, it crashed. The 2 passengers in the front seats passed away right away. Lee Minho and his companion, Young Il-woo, were in the rear and barely made it out alive. For a month, Lee was in a coma. He was awakened to a broken body. His ankle, thigh, and ribs were all fractured. He had a ripped knee. He had to put a metal pin in his thigh, 46 centimeters long. And he was left with a permanently shorter leg than the other. He was in pain for the following year and was unable to act, walk, or even stand. At that point, his ambition of becoming a star was on the verge of ending before it could start. His ascent following the disaster felt so improbable because of this. When he eventually got the part of Gu Junpyo in Boys Over Flowers, nobody could realize how much suffering he had endured. A generation's face was Lee Min-ho, and the character became famous. However, the success did not eliminate the risk. While filming City Hunter in 2011, he was involved in another vehicle accident. Later in life, the trauma from the accident would re-affect him, aggravating his previous ailments. He was unable to serve as an active duty soldier due to those injuries when his mandatory military service rolled around. He served at the Suseo Social Welfare Center as a public service officer from May 2017 to April 2019. While others questioned his military career, few were aware of the physical pain he was still experiencing from his past. Something unexpected then appeared. With Pachinko, he made his Hollywood debut in 2022. Bold, dramatic, and intensely emotional, it was. In addition to impressing his devoted followers, his performance astounded critics. Collider, Rolling Stone, and the New York Times all named his episode one of the year's top TV highlights. Charm and good looks weren't enough anymore. It demonstrated the extent of his acting development. Lee Minho, however, has acknowledged the difficulties of carrying the spotlight despite his accomplishments. He claimed that after 12 years at the top, he felt under pressure to make a single mistake that may destroy his entire career. He acknowledged in recent interviews that he occasionally fears falling at any time. In July 2025, he made an even more intimate revelation. He stated he wept for days after losing his dog. It helped him see how isolating celebrity can be, and he now has a strong desire to marry. Before his 40th birthday. He still has a strong business side despite all the emotions that go on behind the scenes. He represents 27 distinct product categories and 11 well-known companies. He is present everywhere, from Cuckoo to Fendi to Hugo Boss. He is one of the most sought-after celebrities for sponsorships since millions of people in Asia trust his face. He is currently getting ready for a major event once more. His latest project, Omniscient Reader, has a budget of $30 billion and marks his comeback to the motion picture industry after nearly a decade. This time, the pressure is different, he explains. While movies are one-shot, dramas receive weekly feedback. He said that he is troubled by how obviously the public would evaluate his work. Despite everything he has learnt and the suffering he has endured, he is returning to that world. As well as a heart that is still recovering. On Korean TV, Haison was once the innocent face of the show and the girl whom everyone cheered for. There was more to Haison than a mere dramatist. Although she represented hope, her actual existence wasn't predetermined. In 2019, the fairy tale began to unravel when her marriage to Chae-young collapsed in the public eye. They first appeared to be the ideal pair, donating the money from their wedding to a worthy cause. Private messages were subsequently made public. They displayed an emotional breakdown, distrust, and animosity in their relationship. He was charged by Koo with emotional neglect. She videotaped him as he slept, he claimed, then tricked her way into his flat. The issue worsened when On disclosed that he was having financial difficulties and was using depression medicine. He had sold his house and obtained loans to satisfy her requirements. Fans were shocked and both of them were left scarred when the divorce was completed in 2020. Koo did not, however, vanish. Rather, she took a surprising action. She returned to school in order to perform well, not only to kill time. She went back to Sungkyunkwan University, which she had previously left, and put in even more effort. She graduated in February 2024 with a 4.27 GPA out of 4.5. It is 97.7%. It's where most people would stop. She didn't. She was accepted into KIST, one of the most competitive colleges in South Korea, with an acceptance rate of less than 15%. She stunned even her detractors by earning a master's degree in science journalism from that institution. However, she paid a price for her voyage. She later came clean about sleeping in parking lots in her car, due to the fact that she lacked a steady residence. Once viewed as a spoiled TV personality, the woman was now a student living in her car and seeking knowledge in a society that had previously ignored her. Even so, it wasn't the end. She obtained a patent in 2021 for the Goo roll, a flat-folding hair roller. It was a true creation rather than merely a ploy. In the middle of 2025, she started a business based on it. In order to realize her vision, the same woman who had sobbed on Instagram years before was now working with a professor of chemistry at KIST. With a government-approved business certificate and valid patents, she became the founder of a startup. No one could have foreseen the turning point. Playing the quiet prince, Hyun-joong found himself at the center of one of the most agonizing celebrity scandals in Korean history. When his ex-girlfriend accused him of severe violence in 2014, it all started. He inflicted injuries that required 6 weeks to heal, she said. After acknowledging one occurrence, he reached a settlement of roughly $7,000. Things became more heated, however, when she said she was pregnant and then blamed him for the miscarriage. She later withdrew her statement, but the harm was already done. Kim retaliated with a slander action in 2015. She gave birth to a child in September. In the meanwhile, Kim's paternity was established using a paternity test. Layers of conflicting allegations and mental turmoil were exposed by court after court. Kim won the case in 2017. The woman was mandated by the court to provide him $100 million. In addition, she received a suspended jail sentence for assault. However, triumph comes at a cost. Kim lost over $13 million during that time. He lost his brand deals. They canceled concerts. He was dropped by Lotte, Misha, and Toyota. His agencies severed relations with him, claiming he was untrustworthy. Between 2015 and 2017, he made an effort to avoid the spotlight while on military duty. However, rumors about him persisted even after that. He encountered additional issues upon his return. Monthly payments and complete custody of their son were demands made by his ex-partner. Kim startled everyone by getting married to someone else in 2018 in the midst of all of this. Through it all, she had supported him. He had 2 children in 3 years with 2 separate ladies. The media had a great time. His return to music didn't help much. Album sales have dropped from hundreds of thousands to just over 30,000. Locations became smaller. The cost of each show decreased from $500,000 to as little as $50,000. Even though he still owed money for child support and court fees, he was spotted dining in style in 2021. He had relocated into a smaller apartment worth 500 million won by 2022, which was a significant drop down from his previous penthouse. He formed 501 in 2023 after getting back together with other members of SS5801 in the hopes of a comeback. However, the reaction was not what they had anticipated. Sales of tickets were weak. Rather than playing in large stadiums, they performed in fan clubs and little halls. Kim Bum won hearts all over Asia as the endearing Potter in Boys Over Flowers. However, fans were unaware of something hidden beneath the smile. Kim Bum was already coping with a significant health problem in his early 20s. One degenerative disease that ran in his family was rheumatoid arthritis. He discreetly treated it for years with medicine and physical activity. But in 2018, when it came time to serve in the military, the truth was revealed. He was not, like most performers, a regular soldier. Due to his health, he was instead sent to public service. Since his early 20s, he has been seeking ongoing treatment, according to confirmation from his agency. His supporters were taken aback by such announcement. They never thought the luminous and active star would have been fighting such a terrible battle in silence. Following Boys Over Flowers, Kim Bum's romantic life was frequently discussed in the press. In October 2013, he made waves when he went public with his Goddess of Fire co-star, actress Min-jung. When the relationship was officially announced in November 2013, people were ecstatic. 7 months later, in May 2014, however, the pair had called it quits. Fans were devastated. Then, in March 2018, just a few weeks prior to enlisting in the military, Kim Bum revealed a new relationship with actress So-eun this time. It seemed like the last romantic chapter before he took a 2-year hiatus from the public eye. But before he even finished basic training, that too ended abruptly. Fans questioned what was actually happening behind the scenes after 2 well-known romances ended abruptly. In the midst of all of this, Kim Bum took a risky step that nobody anticipated. He made his musical debut in 2012 when his solo album, Hometown, was released on June 20th. He even performed live in Japan at the Shinagawa Prince Hotel in Tokyo's Stellar Ball. He took it seriously, it was more than a pastime. It became evident to fans that this was more than just a side project, it was a true dream. The international wave followed. His role in Sway Hark's Young Detective D in 2013 was significant. Rise of the Sea Dragon. The movie ended up being among the year's top-grossing Chinese films. Kim Bum was suddenly well-known throughout Asia, not just in Korea. He then produced Chinese dramas and movies, including The Beloved, Lovers in Movies, and V-Love. Suddenly, he had quietly emerged as a major player on the world stage. However, the most unexpected thing about today is how quiet he has been about love. Kim Bum is 36 and totally unmarried as of 2025. He hasn't been involved in any confirmed romances since splitting from So-eun in 2018. Even though he was one of Korea's most eligible bachelors, he made no mention of dating or getting married. Fans frequently search online, with terms like Kim Bum wife appearing frequently. But there is never a solution. Not a single glimpse in public. There is total stillness, no persistent rumors. The mystery just heightens the curiosity. But Kim Bum hasn't slowed since he left the military. With significant parts in Law School in 2021, Ghost Doctor in 2022, and Tale of the Nine-Tailed in 2020, he made a triumphant comeback to the big screen. He revealed a distinct side with each project, demonstrating his worth as more than simply a gorgeous face from a vintage drama. He was able to reach. He endured. He will now play CEO Eric, the executive director, in the 2026 SBS drama Sold Out Again Today. Kim Jung. Kim Jung's portrayal of Song Woo-bin in Boys Over Flowers made him a worldwide sensation. However, beneath the celebrity, he was concealing a personal secret so large that nobody knew about it. Not even his closest admirers anticipated it. Although everyone was enamored with his character, Kim Jung was secretly seeing a person he had known since middle school. He made his debut with T-Max in 2007, but by then, they had been together for 9 years. Nevertheless, no one knew. Then he startled everyone with an announcement in June 2018. "I've been married since 2015, he disclosed. His wife was neither a new romantic interest nor a fellow celebrity. The woman he had been with all along was the same one. In the heyday of his success, he had somehow managed to keep the whole romance, wedding, and even their family life under wraps. But it wasn't just that. He also disclosed the birth of his child in the same year. Despite years of media exposure, public appearances, and interviews, he had maintained this hidden. Prior to fans even suspecting he was married, he had been a father for a considerable amount of time. In a field where every detail is made public, Kim Jun had accomplished something that hardly any other celebrity could. He created an entire existence hidden from the public eye. Additionally, his work route changed significantly. In September 2011, when he signed up for mandatory military duty. After serving as a conscripted police officer, he was released in June 2013. T-Max's active years came to a calm conclusion with that respite from the limelight. He then preferred to work on quieter, smaller projects instead of huge parts. It wasn't even Kim So-eun's intention to become an actress. She had been preparing to compete as a professional skier and was headed to the Korean national team. But in 2003, everything was different. She was noticed by a talent agency while competing in a youth skiing event in Pyeongchang, the site of the Winter Olympics. She was completely changed by that one-chance encounter in the snow. She entered the acting industry after abandoning a career in sports. She had a difficult journey even after becoming well-known thanks to Boys Over Flowers. She made several agency changes. She became a member of Will Entertainment in 2016. Her transfer to Ascendio Reserve occurred in 2021. However, followers discovered in 2024 that her profile was no longer available on Ascendio's website. Not a single explanation or notification. She had departed the agency in silence. She works on her own now. Being without an agency may quickly derail a career in Korean entertainment, therefore that's an unusual and dangerous choice. Her private life has also generated conversation. On the reality show We Got Married in 2014, she was paired with actor Song Jae-rim. They won the NBC Entertainment Awards for Best Couple because of their intense on-screen chemistry. The duration of the relationship rumors, however, was what truly caught everyone off guard. People were still inquiring as to whether they were secretly dating in June 2023, over 10 years after the performance. Regardless of whether it was genuine love or merely a persistent rumor, their relationship has endured for far longer than anyone anticipated. A side of Kim So-eun that many people are unaware of has also been revealed off-screen. For occasions like the Jeonju International Film Festival and the Korea International Youth Film Festival, she has been actively involved as a cultural ambassador. She gained recognition for her support of environmental causes in 2014 while serving as a representative of the Green Film Festival. Her profession, which many believed was all about being the sweet girl next door, has gained depth from that aspect of her life, which is quiet, reflective, and socially active. The path of Park Ji-bin is among the most unexpected in Korean entertainment. He was only 14 years old in 2009 when he won people over as John Dee's younger brother in Boys Over Flowers. Supporters viewed him as the kind, lively child who lived next door. When we fast forward to 2025, he has radically changed. He is no longer the younger sibling at the age of 30. Fans now refer to him as Appa rather than Ah, demonstrating how drastically he has changed. There was actual suffering behind this glow-up, though. His father died suddenly in June of 2014. It struck him sharply. That year, he was going to join the military, but the catastrophe ruined his plans. He ultimately enlisted on May 26, 2015, after delaying his enlistment for almost a year. His 21-month term ended on February 25, 2017. While actors his age were figuring out how to fit into mature parts, these were supposed to be his breakthrough years. However, Park Ji-bin vanished instead. And the military wasn't the only one. He was absent from the screen from 2013 to 2018, a total of 5 years. Nothing but silence, no variety shows, no guest appearances, no drama. As his contemporaries gained popularity, some started to question whether he had permanently given up acting. However, a change occurred throughout that period. When he eventually made a comeback in 2018, audiences barely recognized him. Not only did the gentle youngster return with a new appearance, but he also carried with him a whole new vitality. He had grown into a mature, sharp-featured man. He began portraying dark, intense people rather than innocent, lovely ones. His portrayal of the villain Jong Min in Disney Plus's A Shop for Killers in 2024 astounded viewers with his performance. Even his villainous acting was praised by one. It was evident. The Park Ji-bin they recalled was not this one. He is now exerting even more pressure. After a 6-year hiatus, he made a comeback in My Name, a historical drama set in the Jeju 4.3 incident of 1948. In it, he plays Kyung-tae, a wealthy and menacing transfer student from Seoul who is so skilled at fighting that everyone at school fears him. On April 3, 2025, filming concluded, and it is already being discussed as a pivotal moment in his career. There was more to Lee Min-jung's narrative than what was shown on film. No theater was able to adequately depict it. Following her role as Ha Jae-kyung in the 2009 film Boys Over Flowers, her career took off. Her performance in White Knight earned her a Best New Actress prize at the Korean Association of Film Critics Awards that same year. But everything was altered with the 2010 movie Sereno Agency. She became a household name because to the romantic comedy. She took home several honors. She was omnipresent. It was impossible for advertisers to ignore her. She was even dubbed a goddess by some. Her life appeared to be ideal, but then everything fell apart. The couple was married in August of 2013. A crisis that rocked the business as a whole surfaced a year later, in 2014. Model Lee Ji-hyun and K-pop star Kim Dae-hee surreptitiously videotaped Lee Byung-hun. They attempted to blackmail him out of around $5 billion, or about $3.7 million. The timing was the worst part. Lee Min-jung had a child. It hurt to be betrayed. She went to live with her parents instead of them. The media was cruel. She refused to go, despite the fact that most people assumed a divorce was imminent. Rather than departing, Lee Min-jung decided to remain. Additionally, that decision transformed everything. She gave birth to their son, Lee Junho, on March 31, 2015. The years went by. Their lives began to calm down gradually. In December 2023, 8 years after the birth of their son, they welcomed a daughter. It was a big gap. The timing wasn't perfect. They were rebuilding. Trust takes time to regain. They managed to survive, nevertheless. Then the unexpected return occurred. Following the conclusion of her drama in 2020, Lee Min-jung vanished off the screen. For 5 years, she took a back seat. Thereafter, in March 2025, she made an unexpected comeback. She started her own YouTube account. She joked that Mensa member Kim Ji-seo taught her how to ask others to like, comment, and subscribe. However, she didn't end there. Her first ever variety program debuted in May 2025. They dubbed it Heart on Wheels. It was more than a program. It had her name on it. This was the first in my 27 years in the field. In a moving convenience shop. She travels to rural areas in the show. The show was narrated by her husband, Lee Byung-hun, who used the same tone as his Our Blues character. 2009 saw the rise to fame of Han Hae-young. Following his role in Boys Over Flowers as Min So-eun. Her career was already at its height at the age of 29. More K-dramas and red carpet events were anticipated by fans, but what transpired was unexpected. Her life changed over the course of the following 16 years, becoming more complicated and contentious than any drama she had ever acted in. She abruptly announced her departure from Korean industry in 2012, shocking her Korean followers. Wei Brothers, a Chinese corporation, offered her an exclusive contract worth about 15 billion won, or $12 million. At the time, it was among the largest contracts a Korean actress had ever signed. Many people in Korea believed she had abandoned them. Han Chae-young, however, saw it as the start of a new era. By 2015, people began to realize she was no longer merely acting. According to reports, she had discreetly turned into a significant real estate investor. In addition to Shanghai, she has purchased real estate in Los Angeles and Seoul's Gangnam neighborhood. More than 50 billion won was the entire worth. That is over $40 million. She was building an empire in real estate with her revenues from China, But most people were unaware of this. She had evolved beyond her role as an actress. In a modest way, she rose to become one of the wealthiest former K-dramas. Then, in 2018, the rumors became much more widespread. She was seen in pictures hanging out with Li Weichen, a Chinese computer billionaire. People began to question whether they were in a more serious relationship. Every time Li made a new business decision, others observed that she quickly purchased more real estate. Although they never provided confirmation, the timing was suspicious. The plot expanded beyond mere romanticism. She was questioned about if her financial choices were influenced by her personal life. The year 2023 was a dismal year. She was accused by Korean tax authorities of underreporting her Chinese income by $8 billion won, which prompted an investigation. About $6 million US is that amount. The story made the front page. Her reputation was already harmed, even though the matter had been resolved. She had cultivated an image of success and elegance for years. The question now was if it was all a well-managed illusion. In 2025, she made a comeback to the public eye with the movie The Devil You Know. This was not merely a resurgence, though. More like a plan, it seemed to be an attempt to make amends and re-establish contact with the public she had previously alienated. We don't yet know if it will succeed. One thing, nevertheless, is obvious. Fame is no longer the only aspect of Chae-young's story. It has to do with risk, reimagining, and how easily a career can change completely.